So if you've been anywhere near the AI space lately, you have definitely seen this debate pop up, Hermes versus OpenClaw. But here's the thing, framing it as some kind of fight is completely the wrong way to look at it. Okay, let's really get into this, because picking the right tool for you means understanding a core difference that almost everyone seems to be missing. I mean, you see this stuff everywhere, right? Hermes kills OpenClaw. Sure, it gets a ton of clicks, but it's just fundamentally wrong. These aren't even competitors in the way people think. They're different categories of tools. And if you don't get that, you could literally waste weeks building on the wrong foundation for what you actually need.
Okay, so here's the absolute crux of it. This isn't about features, it's about philosophy. Think of it like this. OpenClaw is a messaging gateway first, with an agent tucked inside of it. Hermes, on the other hand, is an agent first that just happens to have some messaging connectors bolted on. That one small distinction changes absolutely everything.
So let's kick things off with OpenClaw, which I like to think of as the meticulous architect. And to really truly get what OpenClaw is about, you have to go back to its origin story, its DNA. Because believe it or not, this whole thing started its life as a simple relay bot for WhatsApp.
And that origin, it's still at the very heart of the product today. OpenClaw is a gateway with a capital G. I want you to picture an air traffic control tower for your AI. Every single message, every single tool it uses, from every single platform, it all flows through this one central hub that you control.
And because of that architecture, the scale is just mind-blowing. We are talking over 345,000 stars on GitHub, a community that has built more than 15,000 skills that you can just grab and use, and it connects to over 50 different channels. This isn't some new kid on the block, it's a massive, mature ecosystem.
So how do you actually work with this thing? Well, you get to shape the machine directly using these super simple markdown files. You just open up soul.md to change its core identity. You drop facts you want it to remember into memory.md. It's all right there in plain text. Everything is an explicit file you can see, you can read, you can edit. You are in complete, total control.
Okay, so that's the architect. Now let's switch gears and talk about Hermes. If OpenClaw is the architect, then Hermes is the autonomous apprentice. It's a partner that's built from the ground up to learn and evolve over time, with way less handholding from you.
And wow, the momentum behind this project is just insane. It launched in February of 2026, and by April, just 2 months later, it had already hit version 0.8 and rocketed past 53,000 GitHub stars. The development team is shipping new stuff at a breakneck pace.
Now, a lot of people get hung up on the fact that Hermes has persistent memory, but let's be real for a second, that's kind of becoming table stakes. It's expected. That is not the game changer here. The single most important feature, the thing that defines the entire Hermes philosophy, is its ability to generate its own skills. This right here is the secret sauce, the compounding learning loop. So when Hermes completes a complex task for you, it doesn't just, forget about it. It actually pauses, it reflects on the steps it took, and then it writes a brand new, reusable skill file for itself based on what worked. So the next time it faces a similar problem, it checks its own library of skills first. It literally learns from the work you do.
Okay, so we've got two totally different philosophies on the table. One is all about explicit, granular control. The other is all about autonomous learning. But how does this actually shake out in a real-world, head-to-head comparison? Let's dive into the practical trade-offs.
Look, the most glaring difference, the one you'll notice immediately, is channel coverage. It's not even a contest. OpenClaw integrates with over 50 platforms. Hermes has 6. So if you need your agent to live on WhatsApp and Telegram and Slack and iMessage, well, the conversation's pretty much over. OpenClaw is your only real choice right now.
So here's how it all stacks up. OpenClaw's strength is all about breadth, routing messages between different agents and tapping into that massive ecosystem of skills you can use right away. Hermes' strength is depth. It's that incredible compounding learning loop and its powerful search across all your past conversations. It really just comes down to control versus autonomy.
All right, so that brings us to the most important question of all. Which AI partner is the right one for you? And honestly, the answer depends entirely on what kind of builder you are. You're going to want to go with OpenClaw if you're that meticulous architect we talked about. If you absolutely need to be on a ton of different messaging platforms, if you need to run completely separate agents for, say, your sales team and your support team, and if you love the idea of having explicit, file-based control over every single thing your agent thinks and does. But you should pick Hermes if you're looking for that autonomous apprentice, if you have one main job that you do over and over again, full of repeating patterns. And if you'd rather the agent just learn and figure things out on its own instead of you manually configuring everything. You're basically choosing to trade that wide connectivity for deep compounding intelligence. And hey, just a little pro tip here, there actually is a third option for the real power users out there. Some folks are running both. They use OpenClaw as the main gateway, the orchestrator, and then they call out to Hermes as a specialist to handle specific, complex tasks. It's definitely an advanced setup, but it's incredibly powerful. But I want to wrap this whole thing up with what I believe is the single most important point. Because the biggest mistake you can possibly make right now, it's not picking the wrong tool. The real mistake is a failure of imagination. This right here is the line I really want you to remember. The real problem isn't picking the wrong agent. The biggest mistake is still using AI like it's just a chatbot. Think about it. Using a chatbot is transactional. You ask a question, you get an answer, you close the tab. The interaction's over. An agent is completely different. It persists, it remembers what you talked about last week, it can monitor things, run entire workflows, and actually start doing the grunt work that fills up your day. That is the fundamental shift. So at the end of the day, the question isn't Hermes or OpenClaw. The real question you should be asking yourself is this. Are you ready to stop just chatting with AI and start building a system that compounds in value and works for you, even when you're asleep? Pick a tool and start building.